Have you ever wished that sublimation would work on your favorite brands of cotton shirts? VersiFlex has changed the game, and now you can make vibrant, soft-feeling shirts like this at home with just a Sawgrass printer and a heat press. I'm Jennifer from Pigskins and Pigtails, and if you've been following me, you know I love screen printing, especially how the ink soaks into the fabric and leaves a soft, professional feel. I started teaching this process to help other Cricut and Silhouette crafters who wanted a better feeling alternative to HTV. Over the years, I've screen printed hundreds of designs using this method, but screen printing isn't always the best process. When it comes to full color artwork with shading or distressing, I've been turning to DTF transfers or sometimes sublimation. But sublimation only works on polyester shirts, which honestly aren't my favorite to wear. That's why I was so excited when I first saw the VersiFlex system. I've partnered with Sawgrass to put this product to the test and show you exactly how this machine fits in with the other methods I use. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how it works, and stick around until the end for some troubleshooting tips so you don't make the same mistakes I made. But first, let's talk about how this is different from regular sublimation and DTF. VersiFlex is essentially sublimation reimagined. It still uses a printer with special ink and paper and a heat press, but regular sublimation is limited to sublimation-specific blanks and 100% polyester shirts. VersiFlex still works on all the traditional sublimation blanks, but it also works on natural fabrics like 100% cotton, so your inexpensive Gildan shirts, or comfort colors, or cotton poly blends like Bella+Canvas. That's something we've all been wishing sublimation could do, and now it's possible. Compared to DTF, which involves printing on a film and applying an adhesive powder, curing it, and then pressing it onto the shirt, VersiFlex is a much cleaner process and without the health concerns because there's no powder. So if you've been trying to decide between a sublimation printer and a DTF printer, the VersiFlex system is definitely something to consider. Let's take a closer look at how it works and the results you can expect. The setup was super simple. It didn't come with detailed instructions, but honestly, you don't really need any instructions. Just insert the 4 VersiFlex cartridges. This is the same Sawgrass SG-1000 model that I used for my regular sublimation, but this is a new machine. You can't switch inks once you've used your machine, so I had to start with a new one. Once the inks are installed, plug it in and power it on. It will run through a cycle that takes a few minutes, and then it's ready to go. And that's all there is to the setup. You can either connect it to your computer with the included cord, or you can set up with Wi-Fi. I'll link the instructions I followed for the Wi-Fi setup below. So the special VersiFlex ink is one of the big differences in this Sawgrass product. The other is the sublimation paper. This is the VersiFlex light paper, which is what you're going to use to transfer your designs to cotton, cotton blends, tulle, nylon, velvet, suede, or even uncoated wood or uncoated ceramics. This paper comes in letter and tabloid sizes, allowing you to print up to 11 by 17 size designs by expanding your drawer, or you can use the 13 by 17 size paper if you have the add-on bypass tray with the SG-1000. It's important that you print on the correct side of the paper. It's labeled on the package, and the 2 sides are hard to tell apart, so I like to keep it in the package and just get out what I need to print. Since we want to print on the top side, you'll flip it over to load it print side down. Sawgrass has a user-friendly printer utility software that makes sizing and printing easy. Just download it and install it on your computer. Then you'll use this program to upload your design files. Under the print settings, make sure you have the correct size paper selected. I'm going to make a cotton shirt, which means my media type is the VersiFlex paper. Double check that you've mirrored the design too. If your design isn't uploaded to scale, you want to set the size that you want it to print. If you have more than one design to print, you can upload additional designs, and the software will automatically nest multiple designs into the same page to save you paper. Now we're ready to print the design. While the design prints, I'm going to pre-press my shirt to remove any moisture and wrinkles. VersiFlex ink is different from regular sublimation in that the ink is going to be wet when it finishes printing, so grab the edges carefully and don't touch the design. Now I'm carefully placing the printed sheet face down onto the shirt. Before you place it on the shirt, just make sure it's centered and in the spot you want, because the ink is wet, so as soon as you let go, it can transfer ink to the shirt, so you don't want to move it around. Place a piece of parchment paper on top and press. Sawgrass offers some recommended heat settings, but on my HTV Ront AutoPress, I had to do a little trial and error to figure out the best settings. I found it works best around 400 degrees for 30 seconds and at 170 pounds of pressure. You'll want to test your settings to find out what works with your press. And be sure to choose a heat press that allows you to adjust the pressure setting. Heavy pressure is a key part of getting a good transfer. And here's the most important part. Peel it while it's hot, like really hot. The longer you wait, the harder it gets to peel the paper off smoothly. A steady pull will give you the best result. You're going to need to hold the shirt down with one hand and peel. If you use DTF transfers, this peel is going to feel a little different. The design sticks a little more to the paper and you really have to pull to get that paper off. Don't worry if you see a good bit of the color left on the paper, this is normal. That's it. When you've peeled the sheet off, the shirt is all done, no waiting for the ink to dry. And here's what I love, the design feels great. It's not plasticky like HTV. I'd say it's closer to the feel of Plastisol screen printing ink. It doesn't soak into the fibers like regular sublimation, so you do feel the design. If I take a full color VersiFlex print and compare that to a big DTF design, I definitely prefer the feel of VersiFlex. If you've ever felt a big DTF design like this, you'll know what I mean. VersiFlex just feels softer and a more professional finish. If I'm comparing a design like this to DTF, this design has more negative space and I'd say they feel about the same. So if you're like me and particular about the way your design feels on the shirt, I think you'll agree with me that VersiFlex is a great option for those designs where screen printing doesn't make sense. And here's an added bonus. Not only will the VersiFlex work on shirts, but you can use this machine with VersiFlex ink just like a normal sublimation printer. To print on sublimation blanks like tumblers, mugs, and more, all you need to do is switch the paper that you use. In the print utility, I'll just change the material type and load the True Pix paper into the printer. This is a sublimation coffee mug. With the design taped securely to the mug, I'm using my Cricut mug press. And check out the results. The colors are really vibrant and this is dishwasher safe. So if you haven't gotten into sublimation yet because of the limitations of the t-shirts you can use, you can now get the best of both worlds with the VersiFlex ink. You can use all the regular sublimation blanks and cotton shirts. So you might be wondering, what's the catch? There are a few things to know about VersiFlex before you go all in. This printer doesn't have white ink, so you'll want to plan your designs around this. Any white areas of the design will not be printed, so you'll see the t-shirt color in those areas. Similar to water-based screen printing ink, VersiFlex bonds with the fabric, so it doesn't show up well on dark fabrics. And because the printer doesn't use white ink, the only workaround for this would be to sublimate on HTV. But as you know, I'm not a big fan of how that feels. So while it might not work on black or dark color fabrics, you're not limited to just white shirts. I've tried a variety of shirt colors and found that with the good contrasting design, it shows up really well. Sawgrass says VersiFlex will last around 30 washes. That's not a lifetime of durability like screen printing, but 30 washes is still a lot for a t-shirt. I've been putting my shirts to the test, washing them as much as possible. I haven't gotten up to 30 washes yet, but after 10, this one still looks just the same as it did right off the press. So I feel pretty confident this is going to hold up well. I'll be sure to share more updates as I reach 30 plus washes with these. As I was testing this process, I ran into a few bumps. I had a few failed shirts, so I want to show you some of the problems that I had and my tips for avoiding these same mistakes. With the VersiFlex light paper, the key to getting a clean, successful transfer is getting your time, temperature, and pressure dialed in, and then peeling the paper immediately while it's still hot. And I'm not talking a few seconds later, I mean right away. If you wait too long, the ink cools down and the paper starts to stick. If you start to peel and notice parts of the design are lifting, this usually means your press wasn't hot enough or you didn't use enough pressure. When that happens, I just close the press again for a few more seconds and then try to peel again. But be careful, if you've already started peeling up a good bit of the design and try to lay the paper back down, it might not line up perfectly. That's exactly what happened here, causing a bit of ghosting. Another thing I noticed is that larger designs are tougher to peel quickly in one smooth motion. So here's a little trick that helped me. If you're mid-peel and you notice the paper isn't coming off easily, grab a mini press or iron and warm up the part you haven't peeled yet. It reactivates the transfer just enough to make the rest of the peel go smoothly. While I was getting the hang of the peel, I tried to use distressed designs or ones that look good even if the peel wasn't perfect. And honestly, I really like how these turned out. Distressed designs are harder to pull off with screen printing, so I love having this as an option. And just to test how important the hot peel is, I waited to peel this transfer. As expected, the paper started to stick and even ripped as I tried to pull it off. Once it cools too much, it's tough to recover. So the bottom line is do some testing to figure out your temperature and pressure so that you can get a peel like this. And always peel immediately after your press finishes. Something else I discovered through trial and error is that I like the feel of the shirt right after peeling. With DTF, I always do one more press after the sheet is removed, which you can do with VersiFlex, but it gives it a slicker feel. I like the texture better without the extra press. If VersiFlex sounds like the right addition to your craft room or small business, here are my final thoughts. I've made a lot of projects while learning this machine, and even after all of the testing, I've barely made a dent in the ink. It's hard to say exactly how many shirts you'll get from one set of cartridges, but I'm impressed so far with how far the ink goes. It may not be ideal for high volume shops, but for small runs, last minute spirit shirts, or custom gifts, the convenience is hard to beat. If you already screen print, this won't replace it, but it's a great tool for those full color detailed designs that are tough to do with vinyl. VersiFlex fills a nice gap in my craft room and gives me an easy way to get vibrant prints on cotton shirts that people actually want to wear. If you have questions, drop them in the comments and follow along on social media. I'll be sharing more of what I'm making with VersiFlex soon.